Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the Canadian Bowler Podcast. Daryl, how are you going? How are you doing today?
I'm doing all right, Luke. How are you?
No, not so bad. It's interesting. It's warm, and I feel like it should be cold outside, but it's just not. But I mean,
Yeah,
other than that, it's not too bad.
it's been quite a wild month, I'd say. We had like a huge dump of snow here in Ontario where I was shoveling. I was out in my winter coat and mitts and everything, and now it doesn't seem like it was even there.
Yeah, and I mean, for me personally, I hate the snow, but it's kind of depressing because I love ice fishing. So I really want it to get like really cold, but no snow. So here's to hoping, anyways.
Well, we're in Canada and we're in Ontario, and uh, who knows what's gonna happen. Day to day, it could change on a dime, really.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. All right, guys. We made it to 500 subscribers. I'm assuming you all seen the video. If you didn't, it's on our channel. We appreciate you guys, but I still got to say it. Remember to hit the subscribe button, like, share, comment, hit the little notification bell on the bottom just so you can see you get notifications every time we go live, just in case you missed the teasers and whatever else on the other social media platforms. And I'm just going to put a little disclaimer before we start the show. If we have an internet problem, we will do our best to bring it back. And if we can't bring it back, the rest will be recorded offline. And you can find the remainder of this podcast and every other one on all major podcast platforms like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher. I don't even know what the other ones are, but it's on all of them. So if you need to, you can find it there. Yeah, so let's get into this, Daryl. What's going on?
Well, how about we kick it off with some big news that came up recently. Let me just set it up here. We had a major icon in the bowling world retire, actually.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised when I seen this. It was almost a shock, and people were saying to me, I was talking to Mike and Rob and a couple other people about it. It's just so shocking because like I didn't think she was like in the sport of bowls. I didn't think she was like overly old by any means. So I was kind of surprised when I read the news.
Yeah, she's 50 years old. Joe Edwards is an icon of bowls in general, but even more so the Blackjacks Bowls New Zealand. She has been, as far as I'm concerned, she's one of the figureheads of that sport in that country, at least right now. You've got past legends like Brassy and Bellis, who everybody who knows bowls in that way remembers. She's current. She's on top of the world. She's won. Let me just quickly go over my notes here. She's won 5 World Bowls medals, 2 gold in pairs, 2 silver in pairs, and 1 bronze in singles. So 5 World Bowls medals is incredible. 3 Commonwealth Game medals, all gold, by the way.
Wow.
1 in pairs and 2 in singles. She has 2 World Champion to Champion titles, which is incredible. A record 6 World Cup singles titles. She holds that record, which is absolutely phenomenal. And 5 New Zealand national titles. She has a laundry list of accomplishments. She was in our greatest lawn bowler of all time competition as one of the entries. And she will be missed. I can guarantee that.
Yeah, it's really incredible some of the things that she's been able to accomplish in the sport, obviously, and yeah, I guess she'll definitely be missed. It's a big hit to the Bulls community, but I guess it opens up the door for that next big female superstar in the sport.
That's true, and they do have some really great up and comers. There is like the Tyler Bruces who have been doing some stuff down there. Selena Goddard is still part of their program. Caitlin Inch was one that was coming up. I actually remember Caitlin Inch coming up in the World Youth when she wasn't really too well known. But she's taken by storm. She's won a bunch of stuff down as part of the Broad Beach Bulls. She plays with Ryan Bester down there as well. So there's a lot of good talent that's coming up there.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. Just have to see what happens with that.
You might more recently know her from the BPL 11 championships. She made some incredible shots leading up to the finals, and made some incredible shots in the finals as well, with her teammates Ryan Bester on the far left, Michael Walker right next to her holding the trophy, as part of the Murray Steamers.
Yeah, that's BPL is always one of those fun things to watch, and I had the opportunity to watch a few of the matches that she played in, and it's just wicked, some of the stuff that she's able to do on the green.
Yeah, so for all of you, if you don't know who Joe Edwards is, we have a link in the description below, leading to the Canadian Bowler website with a little write-up. Has a link to a video as well of this final. If you haven't seen it, it's an incredible final. It has some highlights of some of the best shots, including this one where I think this was just after she drove the jack into the ditch. She's, hooping up the crowd a little bit to get into it. It's an incredible event. She was a part of it. She was a part of the championship final. So take a look at that. It also has a link to a more lengthy Bulls New Zealand article that has a huge write-up and an interview with her on how she came to the decision to retire as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I guess we'll just, from Canadian Bowler, Joe, we wish you the best of luck in whatever you decide to do next.
That's right. Moving on from that, I kind of wanted to ask you a little question. We've had some conversations recently about music.
We have.
Yeah.
I like music.
I like music as well. And it really got me thinking, when I play bowls and when I'm either thinking of going into a competition or coming out of a competition, I usually have some musical go-tos or at least some playlists on my phone or whatever, either to get me pumped up or to cool me down afterwards after possibly an intense game. What kind of stuff do you listen to when you bowl?
It's actually kind of crazy to think about it. So like I'm very, very open to like all sorts of music. Like through my life, I've listened from everything from like early country to current country to pop music to straight up gangster rap to rock and roll to heavy metal, like hardcore screamo stuff. Like I really don't like have a genre that I'm in love with more than the rest. I just like music in general. When I bowl, I don't even know. It's just changed. It's changed so much over the years. I guess recently, like I guess Daryl, I've been really into like I guess it would be 80s rock and roll, like Motley Crue in particular. We've spoken about it a few times, and it's just something about just stuff that's upbeat really gets me going, and good work, good lyrics, good guitar playing, and stuff like that just really gets me pumped up. What about you, Daryl, before a big game?
For me, it's interesting. I'm kind of the same way. I don't have a particular genre. Like I'm all hard rock or I'm all metal or anything like that. I can say that I'm not a country fan. I won't lie that I do like some country songs. I do like some different ones. I mean, if John Denver Country Roads comes on, I will be belting out the chorus for that for sure.
You and 2 billion of your closest friends.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a rock guy when I'm come off the green, so I do like listening to some more mellow tracks when I'm coming down. So I'll listen to like my go-tos. Pearl Jam is one of my favorite bands. I did go through that whole grunge phase back in high school, so Pearl Jam is one of my go-tos. But when I'm getting pumped up, I'll actually switch from EDM, which I never listen to in any other thing, but I will actually listen to some heavy beats like that. I will listen to some metal. Growing up, I listened to things like Iron Maiden, Metallica, Megadeth, which is kind of a poor man's Metallica, but really heavy riffs, really stuff that'll get my blood flowing, that I can get into, that just has that intensity that'll lift me up getting ready for the game. So it is a mix, but I don't, and I think we discussed this a little earlier, I will find a few songs that month and I will just listen to them and drive them right into the ground until I'm sick of them.
Yeah, I'm the same way, and it's just so funny over like my whole Bulls career, just with like pump up music. It's like you said, like EDM or whatever. It's like every year it seems like it's something else. Like I'll find like a good playlist of like I don't even know. Let's go like way back in the day when I first started. It would have been like early like mid 2000s, like Linkin Park and some Eminem stuff going on, and then up to fast forward to today, it might be like Drake or some weird song that Owen Kirby showed me because he's all into the hip hop scene, or even like I said, I like recently it's been 80s rock and 80s I guess metal, whatever you want to call it, but stuff like that. It's just I think anything upbeat with a good like good riffs and good. I'm really big fan of like super bassy music, so stuff like that just really gets me going.
Yeah, I've had some weird ones in the past where like I listened to there was one time where I was listening to like a Blink 182 song and then a Fall Out Boy song, and I can't remember what the third one was, but I played those almost before every tournament. It was almost like a superstition at some point. And I've never listened to those songs again, I don't think, since then. Because I played them so much, it was just like, I can't listen to that stuff anymore. There's no way.
Yeah, it's just if you remember correctly, when we were in Australia in 2017, if I'm not incorrect, we beat the crap out of I Believe in a Thing Called Love, which is not a pump up song by any means, but it was hilarious. And I don't even know what happened, but it was funny. And then me and Rob had a funny story behind the song Ring of Fire by Johnny Cash. Use your imagination as much as you would like, but those were the two quote unquote bangers when we were there, and it was pretty funny.
It was. And the interesting thing was that it wasn't the song itself necessarily that did it, like the lyrics or whatever. We'd hear the song come on, and it was sort of an inside joke, so it was actually really funny to us. And it would
That's
get
great.
you. It would just make you forget about everything else. You just get right into it and have a laugh, and it was great.
Well, and the best part about it was at the Broad Beach Bowls Club. I don't know if it's the same way, but they had this big entertainment system, and you could request songs like via an app or a website. So Daryl would always go on before we would play, and he would either request "I Believe in a Thing Called Love" or I don't know who sings it, but he would request "Milkshake."
Oh, yes.
Whoever,
Yeah.
and it was always funny just to kind of like kind of loosen up the tension. It was always pretty hilarious, and I appreciated it.
Yeah, it's great. And just listening to chat here or reading chat here, John Simon said, well, Owen Kirby says a lot of gangster rap. But John Simon says, for me, I've been more of a country or mainstream pop and a bit of hip hop. I get more into the music side during off season with the hockey announcing and DJing, and that's true. I've seen some posts from John showing his announcing gig down in Nova Scotia, where he's actually doing some of the warm up songs and in game music selections for the hockey game, which is kind of cool. And that's a perfect example of you're trying to pump up the crowd or get them really, really loud so that everybody gets excited, or even the players
I
get excited.
I say I guess now it'd be pretty much just the players. I don't know if
Yeah.
there's any fans there, John. You'd have to clarify that for me, but I'm not sure. And Owen, just to clarify what I mean by gangster rap, it's the easiest way of saying underground hip hop or not so mainstream hip hop or rap.
Yeah. So this kind of leads me into, I guess, our next little segment, and I'll just cue this up here. We have an idea for a show going forward that will be headlined by, I guess, yours truly, me.
Captain Darryl, Captain Technical Difficulties.
As you know, we have joked a lot about technical difficulties. We've raged about technical difficulties. We've had a lot of interesting things happen on the stream, whether it's internet, our software, sound, you name it, we've gone through it. But I'm going to be starting up a coaching segment, and it's going to be titled Technical Difficulties. I think it's right in line with our brand. We have this issue that comes up all the time, but I think it's appropriate for our purposes that our coaching segment is going to be called Technical Difficulties. I will be going over technical delivery, the good and the bad, the issues that come in place, answering questions from you guys. If you have questions about delivery, things that are out there, stuff that's been said, any coaching questions, make sure to send them our way. And we will start creating videos under this section to help you with your technical difficulties.
Yeah, and just touching on new shows and things that are coming up in the future. I just wanted to, I guess I'm kind of not really backtracking, but I just wanted to touch on something that I noticed more recently when we did the last Canadian Bowler After Dark. It was the one with the female national team players and Daryl, and I noticed there was some comments. We got more comments than usual. I don't know if it's because it was streamed on Facebook or what, but it was some of the comments that were saying like, oh, it's great to see people that aren't just from Ontario, or a great new group of cast. It was like really relieving to see different people or whatever, and I completely agree with you, but we read all the comments. But this is why we ask, like, we really ask what you guys want to see, because we don't know. I can't read everybody's mind. Yes, we do get the odd suggestion here and there, but if you guys really want to see something, we really would appreciate just letting us know, and we will do everything in our power to let it happen. Because I understand Ontario people kind of suck sometimes. Just kidding, but I don't mean it that way. But it's, for us, it's the easiest way to do it because we're closer with them. There's no time differences and whatever else. And like I said, we have no idea what people want to see. We have no idea who people want to hear about. So just please, guys, don't be afraid to leave a comment, or even if you don't want to leave a comment, just message one of us personally. And we really do appreciate all the feedback, and we do see every single comment that comes in.
Yeah, and I know that for instance, John Slightman, our super fan, you see him in every chat. You hear us reference him a lot. He sent us a list of a ton of people, and we will be going through that list and seeing who we can get and what we can do as far as mixing up the dynamic of After Dark. Like Luke said, the After Dark with the ladies from the national team had a huge amount of views, huge amount of comments, people in chat actually chatting, and that was awesome. That's what we want. At the end of the day, it's not a matter of who we have on. We don't have our favorites. We don't have people that we just want to get on for the sake of Luke and I chatting with them or getting in contact with them. We want people that you want to see, and we want people that you want to interact with, to either ask them a question like, hey, how did it feel winning that championship? Or how did you get your club to 200 members or 300 members? Or getting someone from the international scene and say, what do you do for coaching? Or what do you do for training? Or how do your indoor clubs run, for instance, if we've got someone from the UK? There's a lot of questions out there that we haven't touched, and there's a lot of people out there that we possibly could get in contact with. We just need some help pointing us in the right direction.
Yeah, for sure. And I just want everyone to understand, like, some of the times when we do the After Dark, I realize we have a pretty recurring cast. A lot of the times what it comes down to is we'll reach out to people. We'll put a date out. Let's say we'll start with a date out, and just with the date being out, we're in a position where we have to come up with a cast, and we'll reach out to X amount of people, and either they don't reply or they say yes, and then something happens. And then I know I got Cam, Rob, Mike, these guys who will come in last second if we need somebody. And that's generally why you end up seeing the same people.
Yeah, it has been a little difficult. I can say just from time zone differences, when I tried to get the ladies national team together, it was difficult. I had to kind of let them figure out a date that worked with all of them, and then I just made sure I was clear and went in and worked with them on it. But like Luke said, we've had a few different lineups made up, and then that week it's kind of like, oh, you know what, either I can't do this weekend, or something's come up, or COVID issues where things are happening in their region and they have to pull out, and we are scrambling that week to say, hey, can you come Saturday, or can you come Friday, or whatever it is. And it gets difficult. So we do lean on the people that we know will be available, or actually will just step out last minute and say, yeah, I'll be on, whatever.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that we don't want to have to cancel a show because somebody said no. So that's why it happens. But anyways, moving forward.
Talking about the technical difficulty show, I'm really pumped to do this. I feel that doing live shows is great for us. We get people coming in and chatting. We get viewers. We see people liking our videos, which is fantastic. But I think there's an opportunity for us to do some offline stuff during the week or during the month, where we come up with a few videos that we can post. You guys can take in whenever you want, and do coaching, do personal talks with people. We might even get some interviews offline where we can't necessarily line them up for a live show, but we could actually get some really cool interviews with people that we can post on our just on our channel as a general thing for bowls. There's a lot of stuff we can do, and there's opportunities for us out there to do some really fun stuff. We just have to find the right moment and the right combination of stuff to do.
Yeah, that's for sure. Like we've had a lot of ideas, just being off for the whole year, and there's definitely a lot of things that could happen, but we'll have to just wait and see if we can make them happen.
I kind of wanted to, I mean, I know we're not at the end of the year yet, but as a recap of this year, the 2020, it's been I mean, super strange to say the least for absolutely everybody. I mean, I think everybody that's watching this show can agree with that. From a Bulls side, I want to just say thank you to all the guests that we've had on so far. People that have said yes and have come on, even those that have said yes and unfortunately just couldn't come on. You guys have been awesome to work with. Helping us with getting After Dark off the ground, with like Mike Batuli, who's come back over and over again and helped us in that regard, has been fantastic. Like we said in the 500 viewers video, we didn't know where this was going to go. We didn't know how the show was going to develop. We didn't know if people would watch, if we'd get chat, if we'd just be talking to dead air or just talking to ourselves. So having the chat, having people on board, the guests like Ryan Bester as our first was just phenomenal. We would never have thought that he would be the first guest or even want to come on the show for that matter. Having the ladies on as the After Dark, that was a special moment. Having a bunch of the young guys on, and some of the guys from Saskatchewan who, for us in Ontario, might not get to talk to. Nova Scotia people, Jackie and Cam. I mean, just ranging across Canada, it has been phenomenal for us to grow the show.
Yeah, Daryl, I think you really hit the nail on the head there. I honestly don't think I have much to add to that because I think you said it just about perfect. I just wanted to ask you a quick question. I was talking to Mike Batuli about this last night while we were having an intense video game golf match. But we were talking about, what do you see happening next year, assuming that we have another restricted year? What do you think is going to happen with clubs? Like, I know there's been struggling clubs during regular seasons, especially here in Ontario, because we have so many clubs. Like, it's so like there's just a ton of them, right?
Yeah.
So, like, what do you think is going to happen? Do you think we're going to end up losing a lot of clubs, or do you think that they're going to be able to survive?
That's an excellent question, actually. I've thought about that as well, and I know I've had conversations with people about it at all levels of the sport. If we have another year like we did this year, I'm almost certain that there's going to be clubs that won't survive. We've had some that have done fundraising campaigns, some that have had awesome members that paid their membership and didn't play, for instance. I don't know if that'll happen again. I'm hoping that the clubs can survive another year like this, but it's going to make it harder and harder and harder as we go along. I know my club, for instance, had great support from the membership, help from the city, a great board that kept things going along, but we still were just, we're floating on the edge of going or in the negative, right? And we're just kind of making it up with what we have. Some of the clubs just won't be able to make that happen.
Yeah, Mike and I were kind of just discussing some of the numbers that we knew just from our local clubs, and in all honesty, it's kind of staggering the amount of money loss there could potentially be for a club, especially some of the smaller ones. It might not affect some of the bigger ones, or the well-funded ones, or the ones that are like city-run clubs. Obviously, they would have a little bit more help, depending on however they're set up. But we kind of came to the conclusion that if we have another flawed years, I think we're going to lose an alarming number of small clubs across the country.
And I hate to be this guy, but I've always been. I mean, I love the small clubs. I do. I've been around my region going to some of the smaller clubs, but I've always been of the mindset that at some point we need to start consolidating clubs and having some more major centers. We don't have. I don't think we have the membership as a total to maintain so many clubs going forward, and it's a struggle where a club of 5, 10, 15 is trying to get members, and a club of 100, 200 is trying to get members. It would be nice to just combine all of that together and work all the resources of the region rather than just, say, the city or a club or multiple clubs in a city, which still exist. Pool those resources and really start to drive home growth. Let's get back to when we actually had a ton of bowlers.
Yeah, I think I agree with you, Daryl, but just playing devil's advocate, I guess, if you look at it the other way, if for some reason we have a massive spike in membership, if we do close down all these smaller clubs and consolidate, we might run out of room for people. I'm just assuming there's a massive boom, and it would cost us probably more money to build more clubs than it would be to keep some of the smaller clubs going. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just looking at the other side of the coin.
No, and I appreciate that. I'm not going to stand up here and say I'm an expert on the subject. I haven't looked into it enough. I'm sure provincial organizations, OLBA, Bulls BC, all those kind of organizations have been looking into this, and hopefully are looking at a plan to either keep those clubs going or find a way to help members out. If their club does close, where can they go? How can they keep bowling interest going in those regions that maybe some of the clubs won't survive? For me, I would love to see us have some really big bowling centers, kind of centers of excellence, whether it's one a province or a couple in some of the bigger provinces, where we have a club that can accommodate hundreds and hundreds of people. And we can have multiple greens and hold big events. We only have, is it 3 clubs that have 4 greens? And those are all Commonwealth legacy clubs. It's Juan de Fuca, Regina, and Commonwealth in Alberta, I think.
Alberta. Yeah, I think. And even just going past that, how many clubs have the 3 greens? Like, I can only name a couple, I think.
Yeah. That's absolutely true. There's more double green clubs, but those can only hold half an event, right?
Yeah, like even just thinking about it, other than Willowdale, do we have anything with 3 or more in Ontario?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I know in Peterborough we had 3, but we don't anymore.
That's true.
But I don't think there is anywhere else.
No, and that's what makes it difficult to host events. Right? Like, you want to host a Canadian where everybody comes and it's a huge festival and it's a huge deal. But unless you have those 4 greens to really rotate people through, and if you have problems on some rinks, you can actually spread people out. It's tough.
Yeah, for sure.
The other issue is, indoor, right? We've always been talking about indoor. We would love to have indoor in every province so that we have stuff to do during the winter. We can keep the promotion wheels going right through the off season. But we only have one legit indoor club in Canada, which is phenomenal. Like crazy.
Yeah. I guess the biggest downfall here in Canada with having the big green complexes like it is in Regina and Commonwealth and wherever else we were saying, but I don't know if anybody out there knows better than me. I think the biggest issue with that would be whether it's if you have 3 greens and 1 or 2 of your greens is lacking, and then 4, maybe you have 1 or 2 greens that are maybe not up to par because they focus more so on what the club members are playing on, because I don't need 4 greens because I don't have 1,000 members or whatever. So like I think it's great, but just with the way we're at in funding, it almost just doesn't even seem realistic to have that many greens.
No, it's true. I know when I see pictures of some of the clubs that do have 4 greens playing out there, usually the only time that they have a lot of them really, really full is if they're running a corporate event or one of those beer leagues where they have just a ton of people out and they're spreading people out and having a good time. Obviously, it might help a little bit now where you have to spread people out because of COVID, but realistically, 2 greens seems to work for the amount of members that we have in a lot of clubs. But it's playing that. What do we want to do in the future? Are we looking for big events? Are we looking for the WOBAs of the world and like a Canadian Open kind of thing and Canadian championships? Or do we really want to boost clubs up and be that social powerhouse where we get as many people out on the green as possible, get those wheels churning and membership growing, and then hopefully that feeds the upper echelon of the bowls world?
Yeah, it's really hard to say what would happen going forward. I don't like again. I have no idea. I mean, we can only hope for the best, but it's definitely an interesting thing to look at.
So reading some chat here, John Siteman out in Nova Scotia says that would be 3 clubs with 4 greens. So we're correct. We are hoping to get an indoor out here in Nova Scotia. The main thing is that so challenging is cost in getting the door of facilities that could be there, such as the facility, the Pacific Indoor. Some athletic multiplexes that municipalities are tending to lean towards are looking at multiple sports and finding ways to get attached to that thing would really help, similar to curling. That's a good point. I know some multi-sport complexes have been built in and around the area because we both kind of live on the outskirts of the GTA. We can kind of know that they're expanding. Toronto is just packed with people and they can't really build inside there. So there's a lot of multi-sport complexes that go in and around that area. But bowls just can't seem to get their foot in the door and say, hey, can we have a space for indoor? That just doesn't seem a thought.
The only one that ever kind of came actually happened was that MLS one, if you remember, Daryl. It was like a indoor soccer / bowls thing, but it wasn't necessarily a great bowling green by any means.
No. And I don't know what it's like in the rest of the country and how your municipalities, like in Alberta and Saskatchewan and BC and out east, let us know what kind of things you think that your province either is planning or should be planning. Send us comments, send us tweets, send us whatever you can to let us know what's going on in your province. What are you doing? What is your province doing? What do you think should be done? And maybe we can have a discussion either between Luke and myself, or we can bring on a guest to discuss some of these topics from the various provinces to get an idea of what needs to happen next for us in Canada.
Yeah, for sure. Or even if we can just highlight what some province has going on that maybe isn't so mainstream yet.
Exactly. And guys, this show, while we've had interviews, Luke and I talk about fun stuff. We try to bring up all that's happening in the world, like the cool stuff, not the cool stuff, but interesting stuff like Joe Edwards retiring. I didn't mean that. We want to talk about important initiatives across the country. Let other provinces know what you are doing. Let the whole country know what's happening in the world. Let get those ideas out there and really get some great minds to come together and think about it. That's what we want this show to help do, is push the envelope of bowls, get the conversation started, and really get people involved. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's kind of what the whole reason behind the show was to, oh, excuse me, was to get people involved and get people talking. Speaking about cool stuff, Daryl, I'm just going to segue a little bit here. What do you think about the recent thing that happened with the Lego Lawn Bowls League?
That is interesting. It is actually an awesome thing that's happened. For those of you that don't know, the Lego Lawn Bowls League is a Facebook group that Dwayne Hawk initiated to actually have some fun. And as you can see from this picture here, Bowls International Magazine used it as their cover photo, which is just really, really cool.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, I always thought the Lego Lawn Bowls League was a pretty cool idea, especially that we were immortalized as Lego characters. I thought that was kind of neat and an honor. But now just to see it there, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, that group has exploded with people, and I think it's initiatives like that that are really, really cool in our sport. We don't see a lot of necessarily fun and weird and wild stuff that goes on, and this Lego Lawn Bowls League and the stuff that Dwayne does with Lego and doing some stop motion videos as well. He even did the famous Nikki Brett clip. He did a Lego version of it. So if you guys don't know, check it out. It's a Facebook group. We have links in the description below that you can go to actually check it out. It's just a super creative thing in bowls, and it's nice to see that a major international bowls magazine like Bowls International picked it up.
For sure, I agree.
And shout out to Dwayne for starting it up. It's been really neat to see the stuff that he comes up with.
Yeah, it is. I really like it, and I hope he keeps on doing it. I guess coming up, Daryl, it's the holiday season. If you have a lawn bowler at home, Daryl, what's the best gift that you could get for somebody? I wish I had a sponsor to plug in there somewhere. That'd be cool, but I don't.
Yeah. For me, it's always I need new bowl shirts because they get dirty. I do a lot of this and a lot of cleaning on my sides, and I never wash my hands, so it always gets brown or whatever. Bowl shirts is always cool. I always like having, just get me some towels for the wet days for wiping off my bowls, because all my towels eventually get ripped and torn and looking really disgusting, and I hate bringing them out of my bowls bag to say, this really nasty rag I'm going to clean with my bowls off with.
Yeah, I got my chamois from when I started in 1987 or whatever.
There's probably no room for any more dirt in that chamois.
Yeah, the classic Steve McCarahan mitt.
Oh, yeah, nice.
Yeah, for me, I guess if I was to ask for Santa for a gift this year, I need a new pair of shoes.
Those
really
shoes
bad.
are really bad.
I don't want to because I like them. Like I hate them, but I love them. So like if anybody out there, I'm a 9.5. No, I'm totally kidding, but I do need a new pair of shoes really bad.
Yeah, if you guys have any cool things that come up, if you see stuff for bowls that is a little innovative, or you think that would be great for the bowler who has everything, shout it out in the comments. Let us know. We'll be happy to highlight those on stream.
Yeah, the Canadian Bowler Christmas catalog.
That's right. Talking about the holiday season, I want to give our audience just a heads up that because we're heading into December, we're obviously going to head into the holidays portion. This show may wind down a little bit heading into December and the end of the year, and obviously into New Year. But we will be firing it back up and trying to pump out a ton of content in 2021. So while you may not see as many shows for the month of December, just be well rested in January, so you can come and check us out then.
Yeah, absolutely. We got a lot of things coming down the pipe. I think a lot of good ideas. So yeah, I would just be excited for the new year. I'm excited, so I guess we'll just have to see where it goes.
Best comment so far, Greg Wilson, carpet bowls.
Yeah, carpet bowls are great. I mean, I've had a lot of drunk games at carpet bowls in hotels and gotten in a lot of trouble over them over the years, but carpet bowls are awesome. They're relatively inexpensive, I believe. You can buy them, I don't know. I think people I knew about them bought them on like eBay and stuff, but I don't think they're overly expensive, and they're like a fun thing just to kind of mess around with, whether it be at home or, like I said, in a hotel or anywhere there's carpet, really.
And you know what? It is actually a pretty neat way to introduce people to the game. obviously,
especially young people.
yeah, and obviously, right now we don't have the ability to go out and actually take people to the green. And I mean, there is the whole restrictions around who's going to come over to your house and all that kind of stuff. But if you have carpet bowls, you throw it down, you roll a few, and people kind of gravitate and say, "Hey, what's that?" And introduce them to the game and just say, "Hey, this is just like a marbles version of bowls where, you play a little bit, you show them what it's all about, and then you say, you know what, if you ever want to come out, hit me up and we'll go out to the green and I'll show you what the actual game is all about."
Yeah, absolutely. And they have a wicked bias on them.
They do. I love carpet bowls. It's just a great thing to, like you said, if you're hanging out with a bunch of friends and they've never seen it, just break it out, have a couple of drinks, have a load of fun, and then you can say, you know what, you can still have that kind of fun out on the green in real life.
Yeah, that's a good point, Daryl.
So, guys, keep a lookout for brand new content. Technical difficulties. The coaching show will be out. Hopefully in January, we'll start with a few episodes where we can go over delivery, technical issues, some of the coaching things that you can do off the green and on the green. And we will keep developing that show to go over everything coaching related. And like I said, send in your questions, send in your comments, send in your problems if you're having problems, and we can go over them.
Yeah, absolutely. We're more than willing to help out, and yeah. I guess there's an idea that I had that I haven't even spoken to Daryl about yet, but for maybe a Christmas special, I think it would be neat if we had our first face-to-face podcast, because I have to go visit my dad probably, and I have to drive right by Daryl. So if we could make that happen, I think that'd be a lot of fun, and I think it would be an interesting dynamic for the show.
That may happen. How about that?
From 6 feet apart, of course.
Yeah, opposite sides of the room. We'll do it. So that's actually a really neat idea. And one thing I wanted to let everybody know about, there is going to be a special announcement in December. It's pretty big news for the podcast. It's pretty big news for myself. And the next show, whether it's After Dark or Canadian Bowler, keep an eye out for that. Come back and see us. It's going to be, I'll say, a pretty massive announcement for this show and for things going forward. So keep an eye out for that. All right.
Perfect. I guess just bringing it down, I guess that's all the time that we have for today. We appreciate all you guys for coming out and supporting. We got some new chatters I noticed in the chat today, so we appreciate all you guys very much. Just remember to like, comment, subscribe. Like I said, if you didn't catch the first bit of the show or whatever, don't forget they're live on all podcast platforms. It usually goes up on Monday. All the old shows are on there if you missed any of them. We appreciate all your comments, all the thumbs up, all the shares. Thanks a lot, guys. Our next goal, I guess, for 2021 is 1,000 subscribers. I'm just going to shoot for the moon here.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. And I guess, guys, until next time, I hope that all your bowls are touchers.